Boy, I don't know. I just don't know. Turn of events have me so puzzled. I don't know what to do. I come home last Monday and I had orange notes stuck to my door. Doors, both of them, one each one. This is to the occupant of 172. I hold in my hands a writ of possession in the above numbered case, which is a demand that you vacate this property before October 22nd. I don't even get 30 days. That was October 1st. Maybe 21 days. Leave keys in the mailbox. And also says it's important to call. Well, I haven't called yet. Zach Scott, Franklin County Sheriff. Deputy George H. Capehart. See that? October 22nd. George. Well, I see her somewhere. I had intended to do this very professionally. I may end up doing it over again, but I have been adamant about this foreclosure. I said, I am keeping my house. I keep everything. I want to keep my house too. I knew all along that there was something wrong with this pass-through certificate. I did not owe U.S. Bank or Citigroup. I have a copy of page 10 of my mortgage. There's nothing on the page other than it was intentionally there. I have another page that the attorneys sent me somewhere along the line. The page has been altered or added to. I didn't know what it meant at the time. I do now. Look at that. Scratch your head. Maybe I'll get some brains out. It says, pay to the order of. Pay to the order of. That's a check. They turned my note into a draft and sold my house, my deed, to U.S. Bank and Citigroup, and or it said U.S. Bank trustee for Citicorp. Well, now it showed the date of the sale as October 20th, 2008. With the recording of the instrument on October 27th, 2008. Well, that popped out of the page at me because that's my birthday. Oh, my recollection told me that the foreclosure was filed on October 6th. This is fraudulent. And then backdated insurance, accepting all my payments and adding late charges to it, confirming authorization to talk with a counselor from the Columbus Urban League, and then filing foreclosure after receipt of her paperwork on my case. They're also holding insurance money, $2,823.19. And they never, ever gave me a court date. Excuse me while I barf. Let's see if I can get this into some sort of chronological order. In the first place, I never missed a payment. I never missed one single payment on my house. I defaulted on my insurance and my real estate taxes. The total was $2,555 or something like that. But let's say $2,500 rounded. They could have very easily tacked it onto the end of my loan. Would not have been a problem. And then, of course, the insurance that they withheld would have covered it. But they stole that too. Okay, at that time, they put forced insurance on my house, $1,500 a year, which was twice what I couldn't already pay. And I got my own insurance within the year. I think there was like 20 days left, and they refunded $80. I don't know where that went because it sure didn't go in my pocket. But I did have a statement that they refunded that. And I kept up that insurance then until probably somewhere in 2010. I'm not exactly sure without looking. But they kept, like I said, they kept taking my payments, adding on late charges, and threatening foreclosure. Well, Ted Strickland was governor then, and he put on the Hope Now seminar or something. I went to that. Well, everybody said, "Oh, your mortgage holders will be here, and you can speak with them, and so on and so forth." Well, Wells Fargo didn't happen to show up. So they appointed me to the Columbus Urban League. And this woman did all my paperwork and so on and so forth. But she was so busy. She had to do all the desperate ones first, so she couldn't get to mine. She had all the paperwork. All she had to do is send it. I don't know. But anyway, it dragged on and on and on for 6 months. She said, "Just keep doing what you're doing. That's fine. Just keep doing what you're doing." So I kept making my payments. Then one day they sent one of my payments back. And I called her and I told her, "Oh my goodness, we're going to have to work on the case again. Bring your paperwork in." I already gave her all my paperwork. We started over again. It took her a month. I made another payment and sent that first one right along with it. So I sent 2 checks that payment. Well, they sent both checks back. Then they acknowledged that they got her authorization to speak for me, and then they acknowledged that they had gotten my paperwork, and then they foreclosed. 14 days before the people foreclosing bought the property. That is so illegal. So is backdating insurance. When they insured my property from the day my insurance dropped until the next year, the same date. Well, it was like 4 months later. You don't insure yesterday, you insure tomorrow. Even I know that. That's illegal. What's so hilarious about this is I go bankrupt and she keeps her job. Yes, I filed bankruptcy. And I kept it up for 12 months. I paid $800 a month for 1 full year. That was supposed to cover my car and my house. Well, initially I had made a bad investment, and I had some vending machines that I couldn't place. I was going to have a vending machine business. Well, and after a while I decided I didn't even want it, because it was the wrong direction for me to take personally. But I have suffered because of that. I mean, suffered dearly. One thing to make a stupid mistake, but it's another thing to get banged over the head with it over and over and over again. Well, as a stipulation of my bankruptcy, I was supposed to make a $7,000 payment in February of 2010 by selling my vending machines. Now, at the time, I was doing well. I had rented the apartment finally after 3 years. Yes, my house is a duplex. I forgot to mention that. And the apartment has been trashed 3 times now. But at that time, I had it rented. And my tenant was prompt in payment, except for one time we had a little deal. But he was from June 7th, 2007 to June 1st. From June 2007 until June 2009, he paid in full. The only one that ever paid me. And I started putting money away. And by June 2009, I mean, I had saved $3,000 because I figured if I can't sell those vending machines, I can save it. Well, simultaneously, I had to throw my tenant out, and my job went down the tubes. So I used that $3,000 to continue my payments, thinking, okay, somebody else is going to rent the apartment, or something else will come up. I wasn't, not that I wasn't worried, but not that I wasn't that worried. So the last 6 months that my tenant lived there, he fell in with the wrong crowd. And I think they turned my place into a crack house. And they literally destroyed it. Now, I rent my apartment furnished. Everything up there is mine. I put in, well, when I took my loan through Wells Fargo, I took a $10,000 amount out. And I put that into remodeling the upstairs. I put in new carpeting in 3 rooms. I put in a new stove, a new refrigerator, a new love seat, a new mattress on one bed, a small mattress, a new floor in the bathroom, a new toilet, a new sink in the bathroom, 2 new light sconces. I completely redid the bathroom. And when he left, it was pretty much destroyed. I mean, when I was gone, when I was working weekends mostly, and that's when they came and my neighbors were telling me all kinds of things. Oh, they're in and out of there all day long. There's 20, 25 people going in there, through there, or whatever. And then they were up all night, and I had to go to work the next day, and I'd hear banging around and people calling the police. And finally, the last time the police were called, well, Bill was my tenant. When the police showed up, he followed them in because he was afraid of what was going on in his own home. And he went out. He got out of there. And when he saw the police there, he followed the police in. Well, I finally told him, I said, Bill, I'm not going to renew your lease, so you'll be out by June 1st. He was out. But that was the beginning of the end of that bankruptcy anyway. Because when February came around, I made my January payment of $800, but there was no making even an $800 payment in February, let alone that $7,000 they wanted. Wow. So then the bankruptcy was dismissed. I think that's what they call it. And by August, I think it was, they come and got my car. And I have to have a car. That's my independence, my security. I have no family in Ohio. I have, well, the friends I have don't have cars either, or whatever. But I have never used buses. I don't know how to use buses. And they don't go where I need to go, for one thing. But I had to have a car. And I asked God, I said, give me a $100 car. Do they still have $100 cars? Well, He gave me a $100 car. And I'm still driving it. And it's beautiful. I mean, it's not, it has a lot of things wrong with it, but it was a $100 car. I put a lot of money into it since, because you have to. You keep up a car. Not, I shouldn't say a lot of money, because I haven't had a lot of money, but I've had to make repairs and stuff. It doesn't have an air conditioner. I broke a window, the driver's side window, and I replaced it, but it's not been installed properly. It's braced in there, so I don't have, I can't open it. And then the back window on the driver's side doesn't want to work properly, so I don't open it just in case it doesn't close. And I don't have an air conditioner, so we've had some 95-degree weather. I don't go very much anymore because of the price of gas anyways, but maybe I should tell you how that car came about. I had a 2-foot wide, 5-shelf or 6-shelf dresser or stand, bookshelf, something that I was going to paint. And I dragged it out on my front porch. And as I decided to paint it, I thought, oh, no, it needs some repairs. So I was gluing and clamping things together, and then I had to sit there and wait for the glue to dry. Well, while I was doing that, I started pulling grass out of the cracks of my sidewalk from my house down to the sidewalk, the street sidewalk. And while I was doing that, I mean, we're talking 85-degree weather. And even though that wasn't this year, it was 2010, I was literally beat. Now, I mean, hot and sweaty and the whole works, you know. And I decided to take a break. I saw 2 of my neighbors down the street standing there talking. And I walked down and talked to them because the one gal I didn't know, and I wanted to get to know her, and the other one I didn't know very well. So I'm walking down there, and I notice as I'm getting closer, they're gawking and gazing over a little red car. And So by the time I got there, I said, "Oh, who got a new car?" And my neighbor Kay says, "I did. And I looked past that little red car and I said, "What are you going to do with that one?" It was white. And she says, "Oh, I thought I'd donate it." I said, "Oh my God, pick me. And I said, "What do you want for it?" And she says, "Well, how much have you got?" I said, "Well, I've got about 200, but I'd have to have enough to put the license and tags on it or whatever you have to do, transfer. So I could give you 100 and I'll take it." I meant I'll give you 100 down and I'll pay you or whatever else you want later. But she says, "No, I'll take it. $100 is all I need. Here's the keys." I had $100 in rolled quarters that I paid her with. And then she went with me down to the DMV and we got it transferred. Yes, God put me out on that sidewalk so I could see her come home with that brand new little car. Well, it was brand new. It was a 2006. But it is a nice little car. It's a Ford Focus, I think. But I got me a 1990 Oldsmobile Cutlass Supreme for $100. Thank you, God. Oh, this is already too long. But I might as well continue until I get it all out there. And maybe then I can do it over again. Take notes and get it done right. I'd like to just fast forward to now, but I did have another bankruptcy. I kept trying to stall off sheriff's sale, and the sheriff's sales, I never heard about them until I got them from the ambulance chasing attorneys. And they say, "Oh, you're scheduled for a sheriff's sale on such and such a date." So I tried to stall it off by doing a modification thing on my own, and they kind of refused to even bother with it or something. And then they had set a date for I can't remember what it's called. They had me go in and talk with a mediator and somebody from Wells Fargo. Well, at that time I didn't make as much money as I had been making. So they wouldn't even talk. It was like, "No, you don't have enough money to make payments," and so on and so forth. I said, "Well, I thought we were here to talk about what I needed or wanted or whatever." They didn't want to hear what I had to say. Even the moderator. It's like, you're not that important, I guess. So, but that had been scheduled, so that took up several months before that went to the date. I don't remember exactly what date it was. But then next time I heard another date for the sheriff's sale was another ambulance chasing attorney, which is actually where I got my first bankruptcy attorney anyway. Now that was a Chapter 13, which is to try and save your house and your car. Well, I lost my car. My car was it was neat because it was my only new car ever. I had a 2005 Chevy Malibu Max. And I drove her for 5 years. But I'll tell you what, at the point, I liked the Max because it opened in the back and it was, I could carry a lot of stuff in it. But I liked my Oldsmobile better because it's a Supreme. Yeah, I don't know. It's just a nice car. And it's white. And I love white. I paint everything white. My house is white. White. Yeah, I'm making an all-white bedroom. And it's so close. But I've got parts and pieces all over. If I did have to move out of here, well, no, I'm not going to. I am not going to. Nobody's going to know where anything is. I've got stuff right here by my desk. I've got stuff in the bathroom. I've got stuff out on my front porch that all belong to various parts of the bedroom. All the walls are done. I made some repairs to the ceiling that need a little more mud and some extra paint to cover the mud. The only thing in there that isn't going to be white is the ceiling, which is a ice blue. But for some reason, the pictures I've been taking are turning out like it looks like everything's blue. But I don't know if it's from reflection of the ceiling or not. But I didn't come here to talk about that, did I? I have it's in my head. I have it all laid out for my white bedroom. And it's beautiful. I sleep on the couch. I've been sleeping on the couch all my life. I have a nice couch, actually. But I bought an air mattress. It's still in the box. I've never taken it out. I'm trying to figure out how to put it on my bed frame. Some neat slats or something. I was thinking of a box spring, but I don't know if that wouldn't be too much, because I think the mattress itself is like 6 inches. But I haven't taken it. I haven't pumped it up, so I don't know. But where was I heading? It's quickly getting off the wrong track. Anyway, I paint everything white, and that's my white bedroom. All my walls are white. I have a 5-gallon pail of white paint. It is exterior paint, so and semi-gloss. So everything that this is like my 3rd 5-gallon pail since I bought the house. And I'd like to stick some pictures in here, and I may, stick them in between. I'm not real sure how to do the video that well, but I love my house. This is my life. I've been reading decorator books since the day I bought this house from the library. Right now I've got 4 or 5, I think, laying over on the desk or the table, coffee table. And I consider myself a decorator. I'm even writing a decorator book based on this house. And if I lose this house, and if I don't get my pictures of my new bedroom, that's the main part of my decorating scheme, is that bedroom. I did most of my kitchen. My kitchen needs a little few perks yet. But the upstairs, I have remodeled and decorated, well, remodeled anyway for 3 times. I did a 3-color scheme in my downstairs kitchen, which is ice blue, mint green, and banana yellow. And that's the colors on the cabinet doors. Green, yellow, and blue. Well, cabinet doors are usually 4 you know. So 3 colors does a little odd, but my kitchen looks like an ice cream parlor, and I just love it. And there will be a picture here somehow. But the upstairs, I did a medium light blue, a nice yellow, I don't know what you call it, and a soft red, which is the only paint I had mixed, and that one is called Late Tomato. So you know what that is. It's kind of just a soft red. I didn't want primary. They are primary colors, but I didn't want children colors. I wanted it to look adult, you know. And it really looks pretty nice. But it's been trashed again. It needs at least the cabinets need washing. But I started to talk about the last bankruptcy. Now, all the sheriff's sale that I forwarded. There was two of them before the final one. And I went to a new attorney for my second bankruptcy, which was a Chapter 7. Okay, that absolved all of my debts except the house. Just I didn't have the car anymore. It's kind of nice not to have a car payment. But he told me that eventually, he said, that's not going to stop the sheriff's sale. But eventually, maybe get work again or whatever, and you can convert it to Chapter 13 again. Which made sense. But then he said it would cost another $400 if he did it. And then he turned around and told me it would be $500. I said, you said $400. He says, oh, you were listening. Now, this was my attorney that I was paying to do my bankruptcy. Wonderful guy. I had to borrow money from my brother to do that. And I haven't been able to pay him back yet because the apartment is vacant again. But the one thing, he said, well, you didn't have enough to cover this and that and the other thing, blah, blah, blah. Well, my insurance went down. I was paying $89 a month for my car insurance, and now I pay $27.50. Hello? That's a lot of difference. And I had other things that went down. My heating bill has gone down because I've made so many improvements that the house is easier to heat. I mean, my bedroom walls, the 2 outside walls, have been re-insulated, or have been insulated and sheetrocked. And I've done so many little repairs and things that make a big difference. So, I mean, even my gas bill has gone down a lot. And well, I think the price of gas has come down too, natural gas, fortunately. Wish that automobile gas would come down. But anyway, just about that time, I got some information from a company on the internet called RightToCancel.com. And they had a program that was 4 phases of how to stop foreclosures. Well, they wanted roughly $3.99, $400 a month, or no, $400 for each phase, but also a $99 a month membership fee. Well, when I started getting some of this information from them, they had some videos that they showed and so things like that, and I'm thinking, they know something that that attorney doesn't know. They said they've been training attorneys. So instead of giving him that $400, I gave the $400 to right to cancel. I had the apartment rented. And what it ended up being was I couldn't get to phase 3 because the people trashed the apartment in 5 months and then bailed. Oh, how wonderful people are. But I couldn't do phase 4 then. But in the meantime, I found the main thing was how it didn't stop the foreclosure. But I have a common law lien against my property for $46,000 and some dollars. I found that you are entitled to $3,000 a year for every year you live in your home. Well, I think I figured that plus the $10,000 that I put in upstairs, and there's probably a lot more that I could have added on to it, but I didn't. Plus the $3,000 that they didn't, almost $3,000 that they didn't give me in that insurance money. Well, that insurance money was for my roof. I had a hole in the roof, and I couldn't rent the apartment with a hole in the roof. They wouldn't give the money until I did something with my loan. Oh, excuse me. Catch-22. A friend of mine and a friend of his called the people from the church, a church, came and repaired that roof. Now, they didn't re-roof it. They just patched it. And that's fine. That's good. That's wonderful. And I had my son here for 4 months. He helped me finish up the apartment, get it ready. In fact, he did the sheetrocking on, or most of it, on my bedroom too. So I got the apartment rented, and then of course they trashed it again. But this common law lien, I tried to record it and they wouldn't allow it. All right, the common law is the law of the land. It's in our Constitution. It's what it was based on in the first place. And I think it's like Article 4. I'd have to look again for sure. I can't remember. But they refused to file it. I published it in the newspaper, and they still refused to file it. I sent a copy to the sheriff before that last sheriff sale. I sent a copy to the attorneys from Cincinnati. What is their names? I want their names. I don't have it. I don't have it handy. They're from Cincinnati. I have too many papers. Too many. All right here. Lerner, Sampson, and Rothfuss. I almost forgot what I was going to say about the attorney. Oh, I sent the copy of the lien to them. And to Wells Fargo. Now, Wells Fargo is supposed to, they're supposed to give it to the U.S. Bank and the other, what is it called, Citigroup. Because the way that the common law reads is, it's not on there either. But the way it reads is that the person that you're sending it to is to notify everyone involved, and especially the attorneys. I mean, it's up to the attorneys and Wells Fargo to let everybody else know. Okay. Anyway, I spent the day before the sheriff's sale in the court trying to get it stopped, and the judge I talked to wasn't the judge on the case, but he couldn't. He said the only thing he could do, the only thing that could stop it would be an agreement with Wells Fargo, who was still the servicer, the loan servicer. Well, then I got a phone call from someone with Home Savers that said, I can stop this for you, but I need some money. Yeah, they got me for $330. And I thought, you stupid people. If you can live without it, or with it, I can live without it. That put a big hurt in me for the next couple of months, you know, as far as to catch up on bills that should have covered. My light bill, gas bill, whatever. And it was my water bill. I had to split it up for a couple of months. But that's all right. I got it taken care of. But right now I haven't paid a dang thing except bought groceries. And they're about gone. Because I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know if I'm not going to need that money somewhere else. If I pay my light bill and they throw me out, that's money down the drain. If I pay my gas bill and phone bill the same way. So here it is, the 9th of the month, and I haven't paid any bills. And I don't do that very often. But here's the kicker. Today, Columbus Day. It's yesterday now. I went out to pick up one of my little kitties. Well, I went out to see about the kitty, and I picked up one of them and brought him in. But as I turned around, there was a letter stuck on my mailbox. It said, to the current tenant at my address. And I thought, what in the world is this? I opened it up after I fed the kitty. Kitty was more important. It said, congratulations. This is fun. The Dayton Fellowship Club has just been donated the property in which you reside, and we are pleased to offer you the opportunity to continue to rent the property if you so desire. Or later on down the way it says, or you can possibly buy the property by lease purchase. Hello? They stole my property from me, and then they donated it? I've been asking God to help me keep my house. Now, is this the answer to my prayer? Or is this the disaster that I don't need? Help. Please help me. I just don't know. The Dayton Fellowship Club. I've looked on their website. They look to be legitimate, etc., etc., but my house was donated to them. I am a senior citizen with no plan B, nowhere to go and no way to get there. And they donated my house. Maybe they can donate it back to me. Do they know they're holding stolen property? Do they know I have a common law lien against it? I don't know. So I'm between a rock and a hard spot, folks. That's my sad little story. I know I need to shorten it up, but for now, that's my story.